Hey guys, what's up? It's CS back here with another installment, and here are my picks for UFC 162, Silva versus Weidman. Alright folks, now this looks like a pretty exciting card. Cannot wait to break this one down. And yeah, of course, I cannot wait to watch this card when it actually happens. Next week, July 6th at the MGM Grand. Now, if you guys want my preliminary card picks, I'll leave them in the description below. I'm pretty excited for that as well. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for it. I think there's some good money to be made on that card too. So if you guys want, like usual, I'll list my confidences with each pick in the description, and of course I'll do the same for the main card as well, but you guys will have a good idea of how confident I am in picking main card fights, because that's what I'm breaking down in this video. So let's start off at the top. Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman for the middleweight championship. Chris Weidman, what does he bring to the table that Anderson should be really scared of? Chris Weidman is very good at a lot of stuff. Boxing wise, you know, he's on point as far as his technique is concerned. Of course, he doesn't want to stand too much with Anderson Silva. Of course, his takedowns are pretty good. His Division I wrestling background, you know, he's out of Hofstra University. He can definitely take dudes down, and his top control is on paper better than like a Chael Sonnen's with his jiu-jitsu background, you know, with Matt Serra. So, you know what? I think Chris Weidman has a lot of tools. It's just I don't think he's going to be aggressive enough to be able to implement them against Anderson Silva successfully. Chris Weidman, you know, pretty methodical fighter. He's going to think about what he's doing. He's going to look to counter on the feet. Of course, he's not going to want to do that with Anderson Silva. But as far as looking to do something while on the feet, I think he's going to be looking to take Anderson Silva down at an opportune time. And for me, that's not a good look, because if you're going to give Anderson Silva time to do anything, Anderson Silva is going to start popping jabs in your face. He might dance around, and he's going to screw up your rhythm. And I think that he's going to be landing kicks with ease, you know, whether it's leg kicks. I don't think Chris Weidman's going to grab a hold of them. I just think it's going to look like, you know, a Dawson Street Fighter party on the side of Anderson Silva when Chris Weidman isn't taking Anderson Silva down. Now, also, Chris Weidman hasn't fought in a while. I'm not sure if ring rust is going to get to him, if he's going to let it be a thing. Probably not. Chris Weidman's a smart guy. He knows how to train. He's always in shape, and he trains really hard. So, you know what? I don't think Chris Weidman's going to look bad. I just think Anderson Silva's going to look really good. I think it's a very good matchup for Anderson because of the fact that Chris Weidman is just not nearly aggressive enough as a Chael Sonnen for those takedowns. And I really think that's what is going to beat Anderson Silva. Chris Weidman needs to drop down heavy on a single or double and get it, and then just ride out the rest of the round in Anderson's guard. You know, maybe go for some ground and pound here and there. Kind of has to be careful because of Anderson's guard. Chris Weidman, again, probably better at top control than Chael Sonnen because of his jiu-jitsu background. Chris Weidman uses good positioning on the mat. You know, maybe he's able to land some severe ground pound on Anderson Silva, but again, I don't even think it's going to get there because I think he's going to work too hard or think too hard on timing that takedown. That's why I'm going to go with Anderson Silva, just pick him apart on the feet until he is able to find an opening to finish him. Maybe gets Chris Weidman in the plum, knees him, elbows, that kind of thing. I'm going to say that happens in the second round. Anderson Silva due to strikes. Now, it sounds like I did a lot of writing on Anderson just right there, but personally, I actually think Anderson Silva would lose to John Jones, if that makes you feel any better. Anyway, moving on. Co-main event, Frankie Edgar versus Charles Oliveira. Yeah, Charles Oliveira, very exciting guy, you know, striking, you know, kind of wild. However, he does have some technique to some of his straight punches. He can brawl, but his chin's not the greatest, of course. Frankie Edgar, stand-up-wise, very quick as far as the combinations. You know, he's going to be landing 2-3 punches, and he's going to be out of there before he can land one. So Charles Oliveira better not look to counter because Frankie Edgar is going to be first to beat him to the punch. Oliveira is very fast. It's just I think Edgar is going to look to implement his combinations you know, first thing. You know, I think that he's going to be going after the first punch more than Oliveira is. I think that's going to be not good for Oliveira. Plus, Edgar has the takedown advantage. You know, he's a better wrestler, of course, very good wrestler, one of the best in MMA as far as, you know, transitioning from striking to double leg. Oliveira has okay takedown defense, but he's going to be taken down at will if Frankie Edgar feels to go that way. However, I think this is going to be mostly stand-up. I think Frankie Edgar has a point to prove, and I think he's going to knock out Charles Oliveira. You know, I think he's going to hit him with a few shots, get inside, and then maybe land like a hook or a cross. I don't know. I think it's going to look cool, though. I'm going to say it happens in the first round. I don't think Oliveira's jiu-jitsu is going to be a factor here because I don't think he has the stuff to take Frankie Edgar down. And if Frankie Edgar takes Oliveira down, I think Edgar has the stuff to be able to just contain Oliveira if Oliveira tries to sweep or do anything cool. You know, maybe At worst, Oliveira gets back up to his feet, and that's where Frankie Edgar will go to town on him more. So I'm going to say Frankie Edgar pretty much wins this everywhere. I'm going to say first round TKO. Guys, I just think it's such a wash for Frankie Edgar here. You know, how does he lose that fight? Better wrestling. I think he's faster. I think he has better cardio. He's more aggressive. Better combinations. Why should he lose against Charles Oliveira? Just saying. But I think he's going to use all of that and win within a round. Let's move on. Middleweight bout. Tim Kennedy versus Roger Gracie. How does Tim Kennedy win this against Roger Gracie? You'll have to keep it standing. You know, you don't want to do any grappling with Roger Gracie whatsoever, whether it is in the clinch or whether you got taken down or you took him down. You know, it's just get back up to your feet. Roger's too dangerous from any of these positions, because if Roger Gracie takes you down, you know, he might transition for something really fast, and by the time you know it, he's choking you out or he has a leg lock. You don't want to be involved with him, you know, close quarters. You know, Tim Kennedy, you know, I know he's a confident grappler himself, but he should really look to get some separation if he's in the clinch or is about to get taken down by Roger. You know, it's just, that ain't a good look. Tim Kennedy will have to strike with Roger to win. I think really that's his one way of winning this fight. You know, why would he want to sit with in Roger's guard? That would be rather impressive just to see, because, you know, no one's ever rode him out for a unanimous decision. Maybe Tim Kennedy chooses to do that, but I just think it would be stupid. Tim will have to just gain separation and work his boxing. Fundamentally, not the greatest boxer, but he's still better than Roger Gracie. Roger is pretty flat-footed on feet, really only has a jab. Tim Kennedy should be able to beat him with X amount of punches, whether it is an overhand, whether it is, you know, a cross, a hook. He should figure out something combination-wise to put away Roger Gracie on the feet. It's just easier said than done. I think Roger's going to be too relentless as far as getting the clinch attempt. I don't think he's going to go for a double leg, because Roger himself is 6'4", kind of lanky. Tim Kennedy's a pretty stocky dude. Tim Kennedy will defend a double leg from Roger Gracie. Roger will get that clinch attempt and get those underhooks, you know, and work for a trip takedown against Tim Kennedy. And from there, that's going to be all she wrote for Tim. I think Roger's going to get that, you know, rear naked choke or maybe arm triangle, something like that. Kennedy has good defense. It's just Roger Gracie's just so much better on the mat. And I think ultimately that's where this fight is going to go. So I'm going to go with Roger Gracie. I'm going to go with a second round submission, either arm triangle or rear naked choke, something like that. Not the most confident in picking this fight, but, you know, I just can't see Tim Kennedy winning at least 2 out of 3 rounds over, you know, Roger Gracie possibly submitting him. And now moving on, middleweight bout between Mark Munoz and Tim Boetsch. Easy fight for me to call. I love Mark Munoz. He's my Filipino brother, but he is not winning this fight. Gotta go with Tim Boetsch here. I think Tim Boetsch, on paper for MMA, his wrestling is better. You know, he's been more successful with it, especially at the middleweight division. Mark Munoz has kind of been sloppy with his takedowns. He gets taken down by everyone. How does he, like, do that against Tim Boetsch? Tim Boetsch, low center of gravity. You know, Mark Munoz coming in for a sloppy takedown. I think that's going to get stuffed, just saying. And I think Tim Boetsch will be able to, you know, get that takedown on Mark Munoz. He's going to either ride Munoz out for the duration of that round, or maybe he's going to land some nasty ground and pound himself. Of course, if Tim Boetsch winds up on his back himself, it's probably going to be it, because Mark Munoz has some nasty ground and pound, and he knows how to keep you down for it as well. I think Tim Boetsch is going to be fighting a smarter fight, and he's just not going to look as sloppy. And on the feet, striking-wise, Mark Munoz isn't great as far as his hands. You know, he kind of hits decently hard, but, you know, Tim Boetsch hits harder, I think. I think he has more mechanics to deal with as far as, you know, maybe a jab-cross combination. I haven't seen much boxing out of Mark Munoz. You know, I don't know. I think Tim Boetsch wins this fight everywhere. I got to go with him to win. I'm going to say at least 29-28. It's not going to be the greatest looking fight, but I don't see Mark Munoz getting much offense off besides, you know, maybe a lazy takedown here and there if Tim Boetsch kind of gets sloppy himself. I just think Tim Boetsch is going to look cleaner with his own takedowns. I think he's going to be a better striker. We'll see. Tim Boetsch, he's a great guy. He's a sweetheart, but I am pulling for Mark Munoz for obvious reasons. I just don't think he's going to win. We'll see. Moving on, featherweight bout between Cub Swanson and Dennis Siver, kicking us off on the main card. Looks like a pretty fun fight. Now, Cub Swanson, what does he bring to the table? Of course, very dynamic fighter as far as his grappling is concerned, and as far as his striking. Really doesn't have much defensive skills in either, but offensively, he's nuts. You know, he's always looking to finish. Cub Swanson on the mat, you know, he's going to look to get a better position on you, to whether sink in a guillotine or maybe go for a rear naked choke, something like that. He's highly aggressive, but you know, he leaves himself open for a lot of dumbass submissions, and he's been caught in them. Dennis Seaver himself, he's not going to be a submission threat on the mat, so Cub won't have to worry about that if he chooses to go to the mat with Dennis Seaver, if he can get it there somehow, or if it just winds up there somehow. But as far as the feet is concerned, Dennis Seaver doesn't exactly have knockout power to where he's going to be able to make Cub Swanson pay for leaving himself open, because Cub Swanson leaves himself open for every fight. But the thing is that Dennis Seaver doesn't have the greatest striking defense himself, and I think Cub Swanson is going to be the first to a knockout punch. Therefore, I've got to go with Cub Swanson to win via first round knockout. Dennis Seaver doesn't have the greatest chin either, but again, I look for Cub Swanson just you know, be able to trade jabs with Dennis Seaver. I think Dennis Seaver is going to look to land some spinning stuff, but in the end, I think Cub Swanson's, you know, maybe overhand right is going to get the better of Dennis Seaver in the end. Seaver, he's not flat-footed. He rotates real well, pivots real well. It's just, you know, from what I see out of him, I don't see Cub Swanson not hitting him in the first round. So I'm going to go to Cub Swanson, first round TKO punches. We'll see if either of those guys gas either. Who knows? But I guess that about does it for my picks for UFC 162, its main card at least. If you guys want, again, check out my preliminary card picks and their confidences as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I will most likely do a review for this card because it just looks too damn good to not do a review on it, so stay tuned for that. And again, yeah, I think we're done here, so deuces for all my supporters, bruises for all my haters, and take care.